What's up guys, I'm Newbie Dave and today we're doing a world tour live. Let's get started. So how's it going everybody? It was not my plan to do this episode live, but I live in the US and this past Thursday was Thanksgiving, which is a big national holiday for us. We had a long holiday weekend and next thing I know it's Friday night and I haven't recorded my weekend update. And I was planning on doing a world tour anyways, and so I thought, you know, a world tour is like a really good episode to do a live stream. So let's just go ahead and live stream and not make people wait another day or two to get something to watch. So that is what we were going to do today. So world tour, we're just going to go around the world, show off some of the builds that we've worked on over the past couple months. We'll talk about some of the things that we've accomplished, what the future plans are for the series. And it's going to be a lot of fun, I hope. Now, I'm not going to be going in order of when things were built because I hop around a lot and it doesn't make sense to like come over here and say I built this in episode 2 and then go over there and say I built this in episode 3 and then come back and say I built this in episode 4. Like that doesn't make sense. So we're just going to hop around all over the place and hopefully cover everything that's been covered in this series. There were a lot of episodes where things weren't built. It was just like exploration or, you know, getting a trident or enchanting gear or something like that. So not every single episode is going to be covered, but hopefully we will touch on all of the builds that we've done. So starting with the starter house, this is something that we built very early on in the series. I think it was episode 2. Like, I think the first thing we did was went exploring and found an Amethyst Geode because I wanted to build my base above or near an Amethyst Geode so that the Geode would be loaded in the whole time and Amethyst would always be growing. And so this is where I settled down, and then immediately we built this fantastic starter house. And I am absolutely in love with this house. I love the design, I love the simplicity. It makes really good use of space. I keep all my food here in the kitchen, most of which I don't actually use because I now have a cow farm that gives me unlimited cooked beef. But if I ever need, you know, sugar or pumpkins or something, this is where I come to get it. I've got my nice little bedroom in here where I do pretty much all of my sleeping. And upstairs in the attic, we have this lovely little enchanting setup. This was actually done in a different episode. I believe this was episode 4 that we did the enchantment room. And that's just because I built the house in episode 2, and by then I didn't have diamonds and obsidians and enough leather and sugarcane to build all the bookshelves. So we had to wait to build this. But I really love this enchantment room. I've got all my lapis up here in the chest. I've got some books if we want to enchant those, grindstone to disenchant, anvil to combine things. It just makes really good use of the extra space up here in the attic, I think. Both this house and the whole starter base around it were very, very heavily influenced by another video I saw on YouTube by, I believe it was Irie Genie. I like to look at other people's builds to get ideas and influences and then try to, you know, tweak them and modify them a little bit to make my own. And so, you know, the design of the house, the layout of the base, I kind of modified a lot, but a lot of this was really based on Irie Genie's build. So big shout out to him. The rest of the base down here is something that we did in episode 5. And so even though I built the house in episode 2, it was just surrounded by a bunch of nothing. And so we came down here and built everything down here in episode 5. I absolutely love this storage room, this workroom. I love the open environment around it. I've got plenty of storage for everything, although I've started to run out. Like I've had to expand some of my storage chests. Like I've got so much stone that I filled up a double chest, I filled up a shulker box, and now it's overflowing into a second chest. But it's been a really, really good storage room, and I love the layout. I've got some smelters and furnaces over here, anvil, crafting table. I've got plenty of lava to dispose of things, so it's really good use of this space over here. This was our early game sheep and cow farm, and so like I used these sheep to get a lot of the early wool that I would use for beds and some other things before I had an actual dedicated sheep farm. Didn't really use the cows too much. Sugar cane, other crops over here. We've got our vines in the background. This composter is something I just threw in recently off camera. I haven't really been using my crops a whole lot, and so whenever I do harvest this, I'll just throw them in here and compost them to get some bone meal. The rest of the base is really just kind of decoration. We've got some flowers. We've got some chickens over here that I've absolutely never done anything with. Some sweet berries, a little fishing pond, and then our melons and pumpkins in the back. So I think this base makes such good use of this space. There's very, very little wasted space in this area, and I really love the layout. In the back of the base, we've got our little potion maker. And this is something that came up much later. It was episode 22 when we started making potions. In season 1, I made like this really cool potion vending machine where you just push buttons for the ingredients that you want and then potions pop out, and it was really nice. I haven't done that in this series. I would like to do something like that again, but for now this is my potion setup. So all of our ingredients are over here. Whatever I want to make something, I just throw the ingredients in the hopper on top in the order that I want. We've got all of our water bottles over here that just plop down, and this thing just automatically makes potions. So it's been a really nice little potion hack. Our archway in the front, we built this after fighting the dragon in episode 24. This was really to showcase the dragon egg. I always like to sort of show off the dragon egg and kind of put it on display. And I thought this was a really nice way to do that. Just at the front of the base, we've got some diamond armor stands sort of standing sentry in front of this thing, and I really love the way that this looks. It is almost nighttime, so let's head upstairs and sleep. So checking the comments really fast. Yes, the game seed is in the video description. Every single video description has the game seed for this world. It also has a download link. Every Tuesday when I upload a video, I also upload a world download, so you can just download the same world and you know, play, not play with me, but play in the same world on your own device. Coming outside the base over here, we've got what I've been calling my agriculture district for some time now, and I absolutely love this area. This is probably my favorite area of this whole world so far. Over here, we've got this massive wheat field. I forget exactly how much wheat you can get from this, but it's something like 250, I think. So it takes a long time to harvest, but it's really cool. In the middle of it is this giant tree. Had tons of fun building this giant tree. I've never done something like that, and I love the way that this looks. Very happy with that. The tree was episode 32. This big farm around it was episode 34, I believe. Let me check my cheat sheet. Yeah, episode 34. The farm includes this nice little well over here for decoration. I love just throwing in non-functional things that just add to the environment to make it look really nice. I've said this throughout my series. I love blending form and function. I don't want to just make things that work. I also want to make things that look really nice. And so in between the farm and the barn, we've got these flower pots that, again, they're just for decoration, just showing off a bunch of different flowers. It looks like sort of a little plant nursery where you might be growing things that you're going to transplant somewhere else and grow, but in this world it's just for decoration. Over here we've got some cow and donkey stables as part of this epic barn. Love this barn. The barn was built in episode 31 to surround the sheep and cow farms that were built inside. The sheep and cow farms are actually built first. I built these things so I could start getting lots of wool and beef and leather, and then built the barn around them. But I had always planned on building this barn, and so I had the dimensions in mind when building these other things. So our sheep farm, we've got every different color sheep in here. We've got some observers and dispensers in the back, so as soon as they grow their wool, then they automatically get sheared, and all of that gets collected in the chest down here. And this thing runs really well. This is really nice if you are one that likes to do bed mining in the Nether for ancient debris. You need a sheep farm like this to get tons and tons of wool for that. I'm probably never going to use all of this wool, but I like to use wool to sort of outline builds and kind of measure things and mark things off. And I like having different colors to do that, so that's why I like building these sorts of wool farms. Also down here is the kill chamber for our cow farm. So I'll take my sword and kill all these cows that are grown. This thing has flame 2, fire aspect 2, and looting 3 to maximize the amount of beef and leather that we get from it. So both of these farms are really good, and I just absolutely love the barn that built around this. I love the way it looks. I love the way it fits in with this whole area around it. Actually, I'm going to go this way next. We're going to hop on over to the gold farm. So come out the back gate over here. And actually, no, sorry. I'm going to go this way next. I always forget that this is here, even though it was one of the first things that I built, because I just don't use it very much. Over here is our Amethyst Farm. And so we go down this ladder, and there's an Amethyst Geode directly below the base. This was episode 1. This is going back to the very beginning of this world that we found this Amethyst Geode. It may not look like an Amethyst Geode because shortly thereafter I completely stripped the entire outside of it, got all the calcite, all of the basalt, everything that defines the geode, and just left the budding amethyst. And that was really to maximize the surface area for the budding amethyst so that we can get as much amethyst grow as possible. Every now and then I do come down here. I think I have, yeah, I've got a Fortune 3 iron pickaxe to harvest this stuff with. I didn't want to use a diamond pickaxe with efficiency because if you start breaking through this stuff too fast, you might accidentally break the budding amethyst, which I've done once or twice, and there is no way to get the budding amethyst back. So I intentionally want a pickaxe that is kind of slow, and built this nice little sort of support structure system to get around to all the different budding amethysts so we can reach all of them, harvest all of them, and it looks like a really cool actual mine in here. I really like the way that this thing turned out. So this was all the way back episode like 1 and 2, I think. But to get down to it, we ended up building this ladder all the way up to the surface, and to make it look nice, built this little like crane around it. And so the crane looks like it's lifting amethyst out of the mine and depositing it over here. And a wandering trader is not part of this build, so he can just go away. Llamas. Okay, now heading over to the gold farm. On our way, we will pass the gold beacon. This was actually beacon number 2. It is my goal to build a beacon pyramid out of all of the different beacon pyramid resources. So this one was built entirely out of gold. I've got one over there built out of emeralds and one over there built out of iron. Still trying to collect the diamonds for the diamond one. And so this will lead us over to the gold farm, which you can already see in the distance. This thing took a lot of obsidian, and I got most of the obsidian from the end by just mining those giant obsidian pillars in the end. I actually set up my iron beacon in the end to give myself haste so I can mine it more quickly. And so we come down here. These are the levers to turn on the gold farm. I'm not going to do it because it runs really, really fast and it's very loud, but you turn this one on to turn on the trident killer down here, and then you turn this one on, which will make the nether portals up top turn on and off, which makes all the piglins spawn and drop down here and die. Below that is our auto collection system where we can collect all the rotten flesh gold ingots and gold nuggets, and then all the gold swords will get smelted up over here and deposit the gold nuggets into this chest. So this is where all the gold comes from. The gold farm was built in episode 27. Give me just a sec, gotta take a drink of my coffee. Ah, love live streams. Okay, Gold Farm, episode 27. More recently, over here, we have some cleric villagers. These were installed in episode 44 to help me get rid of all this rotten flesh, because I'm getting more rotten flesh, I think, than I am gold from this farm. And so these guys will buy rotten flesh in exchange for emeralds. And I've already gotten like 3 stacks of emeralds from selling all the rotten flesh, and I've still got tons and tons of this stuff. So this was a really good choice. If you build a gold farm, you gotta get some clerics in here to do something with all the rotten flesh. So heading back up, we will now head over to the iron farm. Hello everybody in chat, how are y'all doing? So coming way over here to the iron farm. This was built pretty early on in the game. I believe this was episode 11. And I absolutely love this design for the iron farm. The mechanics for how an iron farm works, I kind of learned all that from Silent Whisper and watching some of his iron farm designs, and I built one of his iron farm builds in season 1. But in this season, I I tried to modify it a little bit so I could make it a double farm. So in addition to being an iron farm, it's also a villager trading hall. So the 20 villagers that make this thing run, that power it, also happen to sell things and buy things. And so I've gotten tons and tons of emeralds. And it's been a really, really good double farm. Someone in chat is saying that my mic is super quiet. Is anybody having trouble hearing me? The little volume thing that is streaming looks like it's in the green. I'll try to talk a little bit louder. Maybe I'll try to get a little bit closer to the microphone. So yeah, my iron farm, tons and tons of iron from this. I've also got a bunch of supplies in here. This is where I've been keeping all the emeralds that I get from it. And then I've got a little hidden anvil where I can make... What am I doing that? Oh yeah, I've got the anvil for my books. So I've got all these librarians where I can get like Unbreaking 3 and Efficiency 5 and stuff like that. So I've got an anvil in here where I can enchant those onto my equipment. Coming over here, there's a back exit to the iron farm where I can transport my villagers into the zombie fire. This thing was a lot of fun to build because I built this like evil looking dragon head or something, because let's be honest, we're sending villagers to die a very painful death and then bringing them back to life and doing it over and over. This thing should look sinister and evil because it kind of is. And so the villagers come down here. There's a little lever on the bottom to change the direction of the rails. They come around this side, they get attacked by the zombie, turned into a zombie villager. They come around here, we cure them with... Holy cow, that has grown a lot. We cure them with a potion of weakness and a golden apple, and then we send them back around and do that over and over. And the point of all this is every time you cure a zombie villager and turn it back into a regular zombie, their prices go down. That's their way of saying thank you. And so we've done that to get all their prices down. So like all of the enchanted books only cost a handful of emeralds. I can get a full set of diamond armor for 1 emerald each. And so that was really, really nice having this thing there. If you do this in your world, be sure that you are playing on hard difficulty. Because on normal difficulty, zombie villagers only have a 50% chance, or zombies only have a, sorry, villagers. Villagers only have a 50% chance of turning back into a zombie villager when they are killed by a zombie. The other 50% chance is they just die, which isn't what we want. So if you're on hard, they will turn into a zombie villager. Heading up over here is our ice farm. So the ice farm was built in episode 17. The zombifier was episode 15, ice farm episode 17. The creeper is not part of this ice farm. Let's get rid of this guy, hopefully without breaking it. And so this thing is really, really cool. You can build this in any sort of snowy biome, but also in, this is technically a mountains biome, and so above Y level, I think 90 or 95. Yeah, let me try to turn the game volume down. I've got a couple people saying that the mic is really quiet. There's not much I can do on my end to increase the mic volume. It's already turned all the way up, so I'll try turning the game volume down. Hopefully that helps. So let me sleep because it's nighttime. The ice farm, I built this thing high enough up that water will freeze and turn into ice. And it's built in such a way that any water block in here can freeze on its own. And so it fills in very, very quickly. I've got a Silk Touch pickaxe over here that I use to collect the ice right here. And then, yeah, it all just like freezes back in as I'm collecting it. Put all my ice in here. You just get ice from this, but you can combine ice to make packed ice and combine packed ice to make blue ice. And so ice is really, really good for making ice roads to get around very quickly. Heading back down now, which is much easier now that I have an elytra. When I built that thing, I did not have an elytra, and it was kind of hard to get up and down. So we've got our main road here, which connects the iron farm back to my main base. This was built in episode 12. And the intention was to build more things off this road, which I have started to do, as you can see. So over here, we've got our cactus farm. Cactus farm was episode 38. And this thing is very, very tall because cactus grows kind of slow. And so by building it tall, we can make multiple levels of cactus and it increases the yields that we get. So we've already got 55 cactus. That's after I took the 2 stacks that were in here and turned them all into green dye. I built this thing specifically to get green dye so I can make cyan dye for a different project that I was working on. Beyond that, cactus doesn't really, in my opinion, serve much purpose other than being able to break stuff. But you don't need tons and tons of cactus for that. Coming back over this way, our main road connects back to our barn in our base. And over here, we have this nice little statue garden. This was built in episode 39. Below it is our very first emerald beacon, which is still there, kind of shining up behind the statue. And I left it there because it looks really good with the statue garden. And this thing is really nice. It's just calm and peaceful. I've had lots of people recommend throwing in some tropical fish, which I absolutely want to do. Just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. But yeah, this was just a purely decorative build that looks nice and has a really makes good use of the space that was here. That was kind of boring, to be honest. Coming over this way, we've got our Nether portal. This portal was built in episode 9, and I always like to make my Nether portals look like the Nether is sort of spilling out of the portal into the area around it. I like the portals to look kind of dark and sinister, and I'm really happy with this build. It does a good job of kind of framing the portal, I think, so it doesn't just look like this big rectangle, since portals have to be rectangles. I always try to make them look non-rectangular. And so really happy with how this portal turned out. Looks great. Next to that, we've got our Nether Wart Farm, and this was built along with the potion machine back in episode 22. All this Nether Wart is both used for potion making, but also for making the red Nether brick blocks, which I've only used a little bit of, but they look so good. Back here is our Axolotl Farm, minus the axolotls, because unfortunately they all died. I thought that they would be safe here, but I guess a bunch of drowns spawned in there, and they killed off all the axolotls. So I'm gonna have to go find some more axolotls, put them in here, maybe keep a couple somewhere safe to like replenish the pond whenever they die again. But aside from that, it still looks really nice. I like this back corner. Over here is our dripstone farm. There are 2 dripstone farms in here. This one just grows more dripstone. There's water on top. The dripstone will slowly drip down. Once it reaches the observers, the pistons pop out and breaks all the dripstone off. It gets collected in these hoppers. Over here is a lava dripstone farms. There's lava above the dripstone, which drips into the cauldrons, which you can then scoop up with buckets. I've just been dumping all the lava into this giant, I guess not giant, this small lava lake behind me, so I can store it more efficiently rather than having to store all of it in buckets. So anytime I need lava for builds or smelting or something, I just come and get it from here. No, the season is not over. I'm just doing a world tour sort of mid-season, and this seemed like a good time to do it. Coming back over here, we have our bee farm / honey farm. This was a lot of fun to build. I like bees in Minecraft, but I don't tend to use them very often, and so this was fun to create a structure just for the bees. So we've got a bunch of beehives over here, and above them are dispensers. Some of these have glass bottles for honey, some of them have shears for honeycomb, and all of it gets picked up in this chest over here. The honeycomb's great for making, what are they called? Candles. That was such a simple word, don't know why I couldn't think of it. Honeycomb's made for candles, and the honey bottles, I tend to turn those into honey blocks. Neither of which I've done much with, but it's nice that it's there if I decide to. Back here is the XP farm, and this thing, you've got to have an XP farm on your world. In season 1, I did a 0-tick XP farm. In this one, I just did a manual one, so you do have to come and break all the kelp manually, but it automatically grows back pretty quickly, and it automatically gets collected and smelted up for XP. And I use this thing like every single time I log on, and there's so much XP banked up in here. You can see I'm level 219 already. And the way you use this, all the kelp floats up to the top, gets collected up in the hoppers, dispensed down the smoker, and you flick the lever to sort of lock the hopper so it doesn't get pulled out. And then every time you collect some of the dried kelp, you get some of the XP that's banked up. So I just got 2 levels from that one pull. Got another 2 levels from that one. I don't really use this to get levels though. I really use it to mend all of my tools and armor that have mending on them. And as a side effect, I also get tons and tons of levels. The other thing that I use this farm for, and the reason that I have a kelp XP farm instead of a potato XP farm or some other variant, is because all this dried kelp can be turned into dried kelp blocks, which is an excellent source of fuel. A dried kelp block will smelt 20 items, and so it's better than coal. It's like 3 times more efficient as coal, and I just get it for free. And it smelts more kelp than it requires, and so you're going to have unlimited dried kelp blocks, unlimited fuel for all of your furnaces and everything in the world. So the XP farm was, oh shoot, I didn't write down the episode for that. It was pretty early on. I think it was like around 11 or 12 or something. Bee farm was episode 18. So I think that is everything in the overworld. Let's take a look at all this from above because it looks really, really good from the sky. You can see the base is expanding. Looks really, really nice. I'm really happy with how this whole area is shaping up. So we will now hop over into the Nether and we'll take a look at a couple things over there. Hopefully I don't get attacked while drinking my coffee. I keep saying I need to do something better with... Oh, hello. Why are y'all mad at me? Wait, why are y'all so mad at me? These guys aren't supposed to be aggressive. I must have, like, killed one of their brothers at some point. So, yeah, as I was about to say, I keep saying I need to make this area more secure, and that's exactly why. Like, every time I come through my portal, I get attacked by usually blazes or skeletons or something, but apparently that time it was zombie piglins. Oh, they must have come from my gold farm. This portal right over here links to my gold farm. I'm wondering if they came from there. So yeah, my nether portal just happened to come out on a nether fortress, which is really nice because I'm just right here to get blazes and wither skeletons and all sorts of good resources. Didn't have to go looking for this thing because I hate hunting for nether fortresses. I'm really bad at finding them. And if we come down here, we have some ice roads. Ice roads we built in episode 43. This is a relatively new addition to the world. And you can get around on the ice roads so much quicker than running through the nether, which is really nice when you have a bunch of nether portals that are spread way out like I have. So the portal we just passed over there leads to the stronghold that has the portal to the end. This one leads to the desert where I've been getting all of my sand for glass. And I've got one more nether portal, which is right over here, which leads to the ocean monument, and that is where we are headed next. Ice roads are so fast, but they're kind of hard to navigate a little bit. Okay, we'll just leave it there. So this nether portal will take us to the ocean monument. And the ocean monument project has spanned multiple episodes, starting with episode 36, where we actually came and raided the ocean monument, killed off all of the elder guardians and the... I guess not killed off the guardians because they respawn, but killed a bunch of guardians. And yeah, that was fun. It was the first time I'd ever done an ocean monument. And I found a bunch of sponges, and so I came back and drained this whole thing out in episode 40. And then starting in episode 41, I started to drain the, I guess 41, I built the stairs and kind of cleaned up the inside a little bit. And then starting in episode 42, I started to drain the outside, which involved building this massive, massive structure around the ocean monument. This is a giant circle that is 100 blocks in diameter. And it looks really, really good. And there's a bunch of space around the ocean monument now to do some more builds and stuff. I want to come in at some point and like replace all the sand with grass and plant some trees and try to make it look like this thing was just sort of transplanted in the ocean from somewhere else. So lots of really good plans. That's why I made this so big, but it took tons and tons of resources and lots of time. Draining it took days, like probably a full week total of draining this thing, multiple hours a day. So it was a lot of work, but I'm looking forward to this. Like I said, I plan on doing a lot of terraforming around the base and then maybe putting in some farms, maybe some villagers or something inside the ocean monument. Haven't fully decided everything that I'm going to do with this yet. But this was really the most recent, aside from the clerics and the gold farm, this was the most recent project that I've been working on. And probably where I'll be coming back to again soon in the future, but not right away, because immediately in the future, Minecraft 1.18 is coming out on Tuesday. And that's why I really want to do the world tour right now, is because the whole world's about to change. And I wanted to go ahead and kind of do a big world tour of where we're at right now. And it's kind of our last snapshot of 1.17 before the whole world changes in 1.18. So in 1.18, my plans for that I am going to keep this world. I debated keeping this world and upgrading to 1.18 versus starting a whole new world. And I love this world. I really love what I've done with it so far. I love all the builds, the projects, and I'm not done. And so I don't want to just start over. And so I am going to upgrade this world to 1.18. And before I do that, I'm going to use a tool called Amulet to remove a bunch of chunks from the world so that they get reset. Because if I just upgrade this world to 1.18 right now, you're not going to see any differences unless you like mine down below Y0. Because you can take a look over my maps here. I've explored a huge area. That little green arrow right there is me. And so I've explored all of this area that you can see on the maps. And so those won't receive the new 1.18 world generation if I just upgraded right now. And so in order to get the new world generation, I have to reset all the chunks that I want to get the new Cave and Cliffs updates. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the chunks immediately around my base, extending over to the gold farm and the ice farm and the iron farm. I'll keep the chunks around my ocean monument, but then I'm going to reset everything else. And I have kind of played around with this a little bit right now with the experimental Caves and Cliffs update that you can get through the menu, just to kind of see what effect that it has. And this whole area looks completely different. It doesn't just, it's not the same biomes, but just exaggerate. Like that mountain over there isn't just going to be bigger. It's a whole different area, different biomes. Like there's not even ocean over there. I don't remember what's over there anymore, but it's all new. So it's really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to that. And that's what the next episode is going to be about, is upgrading to 1.18. So this is the last snapshot of the 1.17 world. Normally I will do my world exports that you can download on Dropbox on the Tuesday episodes, but because this is the last 1.17 episode, I'm going to go ahead and do a world export right after I wrap up this live stream. So that should be available in maybe 10 or 15 minutes if you want to download that and play around with it. So that is going to wrap up the world tour. So let me switch cameras here, and I'll say thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I don't do live streams very much because it's a lot easier for me to kind of plan ahead and record things and edit things and kind of make it look nice. But it is fun to do a live stream every now and then. I really enjoyed doing this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit that like button. And while you're down there, feel free to subscribe so you'll get notified of future episodes as they come out. Thanks, y'all, and have a great day.